because our deepest wounds often reveal our greatest purpose. Welcome to the Court of Connection. I have a dear friend, Shelly, with me today. She is also one of the women under that owns the network Shody Media. They have a podcast called Adjacent, which is a fun podcast in Austin where essentially it's who are we adjacent to. So there's really a really wide net, which makes it really fun. You know, you can interview anybody. So welcome to the show, Shelly. So glad to have you here.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me and happy morning. And thank you for bringing your show to Shody Media and blowing our mind every friggin' week with all the goodness that you share.
I just want to thank you guys for taking a shot on me. You know, it was such an organic process. I've spoken about it a little bit on the show before, but you know, when this idea to start a podcast came to me, I had no idea what I was going to do, how I was going to do it. It was just an idea. And then our mutual friend, Danielle, introduced us, and it was just like, you know, kismet. You know, it was like
It was.
at its finest. So
Yeah, and it's crazy. Danielle walked into our house and I had all my mics up and going through some work stuff. And she was like, "Oh my gosh, my best friend wants to start a podcast. She just got all her equipment." And I was like, "Are you serious? You got to introduce us." And I feel like within 2 weeks, we were in full blown production.
yes.
And it
But
just,
that's
I
all
mean,
in large part to you and your like Virgo, like go getter. Like I needed somebody who was going to push me beyond my edges. You know, I came to the table and I was like, I think this was like in mid-September. I'm like, I could do end of October. And you're like, I think you can do, you know, middle of October. And I'm like, oh, you know, because it was just fear kind of keeping me stuck on the sidelines. So
well, and I'm so in awe at your age that you embraced it and took advantage of it and have shared all these incredible stories and Danielle, I have to tell you, I've done a lot of self work, the last couple of years, and it blows my mind how young you are and how forward thinking you are. Jody and I sat at our first meeting together and we were like, who is this human? How does she have this knowledge at this age? I mean, what a bright friggin' light. And we were like, hey, you need to start your team and call it the light team. Cause you're just, oh my gosh. Yeah, we're just blown away by you. And we're so thankful you're part of our team.
same. The feeling is so mutual. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to, as you know, and I haven't really spoken about it publicly yet, but I am leaving my 9-to-5 job that I've been at for 9 years. I have so many feelings about it. I mostly excitement, some fear, you know, but I spent my life watching people take risks and pursue their dream and not knowing what that unfolding was going to look like and just really wanting to do that for myself, but being so afraid, you know,
Yes.
because I need like certainty and safety and all of these things, right? But my soul has been calling me to just jump and take the risk. So I'm really excited to start growing the podcast more and really focusing on that, building the YouTube channel and getting to spend some more time like with you and all the resources that I have at my feet that I just, because of the nature of my job, I don't have the energy when I, get to the end of the work week and I'm like, oh, I don't have it in me, you know, but I have so many amazing resources at my feet. And so, yeah.
Yeah. I can't wait to watch the journey. And I just want to put it out to your already, group of supporters is like, how do we help you get to where you want to be? It's like, what is your big goal for 2026? How do people, manifest that for you and support it and get you the support that you need to get where you want to be. Because I feel like there's the biggest roadblock for a lot of people that have major gifts, like artists, musicians, and stuff, is they don't say what they need, and so people don't know how to support it. So let's get into that a little bit, if you don't mind.
Yeah. So I think the biggest thing and this, I'll tie this into a story or experience, is, I grew up learning how to play small and just to keep my system safe and to keep everybody happy. And so it was this kind of learned pattern of mine. And part of that is, the deeper part is the fear of rejection, right? I can say I don't want to take up space, but what's underneath that is that if I take up space, then there's potential for me to be rejected by someone, right? So it's that part that has had to move through. I just made a post about this, but not handing the keys to somebody else, right? Where it's like I've allowed everybody else in my life to decide who I am, what gets to be attractive, successful, lovable, all of these things. I've given everybody else the keys, and I've started to take the keys back in my life. And so all of that to say, because I am the author of my life, right? I have total authorship. Right. Nobody else. I get to decide who I am and who I want to be and what I think is all of those things. And so, to answer your question, it's going to be more what the support I could use is for people to be sharing it with people that they know would relate to the podcast, to be really, supporting me in that way, just getting the podcast out. And I think I've done an okay job of asking people, but there's definitely a part of me that can kick into gear of just being like, fuck it, I need your support. Here you go. Just send it. So I think I've teetered on the edge of that a little bit, but it's time to just really push full force.
Yeah. I definitely get it out, sharing it. I do a challenge daily where I send to 5 people in a meaningful way, not passively. And you just brought up your post. You posted something this last week that shook me to my core about chaos. Like, people living in chaos do it because there's safety there. Do you remember that post?
Yeah. So our systems, I know, because I want to know what shook you. You know what I mean? Like, I get, obviously there was something there, an internal stirring for you, but essentially the post was, our systems for a lot of us are conditioned to feel safe in chaos. And so when things are calm, it doesn't feel safe to the system. Right. And so that's the journey I've been on. I'm dating somebody now, and that is kind of what inspired that post, is that it's like my nervous system has just been so grounded and calm and not, like activated. And so I've been thinking a lot about that. I'm like, what is causing that? Right. What is, and why in moments does that feel like I need to question the safety, the calm, the peace, the groundedness, right? So it took me down a loop. But what was stirred up in you?
Well, we grew up, Shody and I grew up in, a feral household, and chaos was the middle name. That was, we grew up like that. And then we both married the most calm human beings in the whole wide world. And it took us a while to find that partner, because their calmness, we thought, was not love, which was so bizarre. And but we knew that. We were like, no, we don't want to continue this journey. We want calmness. And so I'm so protective of my peace. But your friend Danielle, we're going to talk about her the whole show. Your friend Danielle works with my son with autism. And our son with autism is a very active young man. And we thought keeping him busy all day long would help him.
Mm.
And Danielle was like, where does that come from? And
Mm.
so she sent me down this path, and I investigated it. I mean, we were doing like 25-mile hikes daily to me, that was the calming part of the day.
Yeah.
And they weren't like easy hikes. But it was like, why do I feel like his day needs to be filled with stuff?
Mm.
Where is that rooted? And it just deep diving that, I was like, you mean most people don't live like this? What? And it's really like, oh, there's some people that like sleep until 10, and then they get up and do self-help stuff, and then they what? What the
Mm.
holy hell? I'm up at 6, and we've already done 2 hikes before you've even woken up. And
Mm.
so it was just like, where is this rooted? And I do think there was some comfort in the busyness, the chaos. And so that post really hit me. And the last couple of years, I've been on this journey just really trying to get to peace and calm and self-reflection. And now I see the chaos that people are seeking around me. And it's like, no, why do you want to look like that? So your post was so timely and relevant, and
Mm.
I have forwarded it to so many people. I'm like, this right here, and I'm really trying to be in our family life, and our extended family life is like the buck stops here. This ends with us. Let's let the chaos go, and let's move forward and let the next generation heal and be at peace. And that's so important to us.
Mm.
So that's
Yeah.
where that hit. It was a heavy, you know,
Mm.
needed punch. I loved it.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so awareness. So I want to know kind of what started your self-help journey, because I know this is
Yeah.
kind of a new-ish development for you in your life. But it's so interesting to me. It takes a lot of work to create a level of awareness to even know that that's happening internally, right? And
Yeah.
so many of us are just kind of going through life like robots and have no idea that that is even what's going on in their system. So
Agreed.
yeah.
Agreed. I had no idea. I do think it was your friend Danielle saying
Mm.
that you don't have to this chaos.
Yeah.
And that happened a couple years ago. And I just was like, what do you mean?
Mm.
Previously, I've had quite a few family members in our life that have struggled with addiction and self-sabotage and toxic behavior, and trying to support and love them through that process definitely sent their support team to therapy, and I was part of that process. And my therapist, Kathy Morgan, shout out, phenomenal therapist,
Mm.
EMDR, all the goodness, just really opened up a side of me. And it's like seeing you on the path so young is like, I wish I had the insight that you have at
Mm.
that age. I'm like, oh, that's so beautiful. Um, you know, I I embrace it. I love it. I love the journey. I know there's always work to do, but I'm down for it. And something I would love to talk about is with you is how loved ones can support family members or loved ones in active addiction
Mm.
or in mental health crisis or in self-sabotage in a
Mm.
healthy way. If you have any guidance on that, I would love to hear it because I just keep forwarding y'all's episodes. I just keep forwarding your episode. Like, listen.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so I think it's important to share kind of what that dynamic has looked like for me and my family. You know, on one end, I'm obviously in long-term recovery, right? So my parents had that experience of having to navigate me and addiction and how to get me help. And then on the other end, I have also dealt with my father, who is now sober, and actually alcoholism kind of hit him super late in life. After I got sober in his 60s is when it really, so such a weird, phenomena. We don't know why, we don't know how. We know it's genetic. We know that certain people have a predisposition to alcoholism and mental health and all of these things, right? But it's an anomaly of when, what triggers it, why some people, the addiction and mental health start earlier and why it start later for some people. And that's a whole other conversation. But, my family, I think the biggest thing, this is so counterintuitive, because as a parent, and I can't even imagine, I have only been, on the other end of a parent, but as a parent, I can't imagine the difficulty in having to hold certain boundaries, right? And having to, kind of keep someone at arm's length, or to support in a way, or cut someone off, or whatever it needs to look like for that individual, because the fear has to be, I don't want them to think I don't love them. That's the last thing that I want, right? Is for this person to think that I don't care, that I don't love them. And so when I'm, I work in addiction and mental health recovery now, and, parents will ask me, what do I do? And I'm like, this is going to be the most counterintuitive thing that you can, do, but it is the best thing, and the most loving thing is to hold these boundaries. You can't stay here if you continue to behave and engage in this behavior. I'm no longer supporting you financially in any way until you get help. I'm not, it's all these things. And it's like the mind goes to, what if they end up on the street, right? What if they end up dead? And it's like, that's the part that's the ultimate surrender, because what I have to understand is God is this child's parent, just like he is mine, right?
Yeah.
God is taking care of this human being in the same way that he's taking care of mine. And the thing that feels like the worst thing for them is actually the best thing for them, right? I remember that moment when my mother I was at the end of my rope, and I was very unwell, and my mom had it up to here. And I remember her looking at me, and there was such a disdain, like just a disgust in her eyes. And I'll never forget that moment. And she was just like, I don't even know who you are. And that broke my heart. I was like, oh my God, my mom, the one who's always going to be here, the one that's always going to love me, the one that's always going to support me, is just hitting a wall. And when she said, you can't live with either one of us unless you get help, I know how hard, I can't imagine how hard that was for her, because we had a codependent relationship, and for her to say, you have to walk through that, right? And be like, I love you, and this is enough, was heartbreaking, right? And so to support someone, so addiction is one thing, right? I do think that there needs to be firm boundaries around people who are continuing to stay in this cycle, because it was a wake-up call for me, it was a wake-up call for me to be like, I don't have anywhere else, I have nowhere to turn, this is it, And mental health is a little bit different, right? I think it can be a more sensitive subject, but at the same time, what is love with limits? How do we support someone and not take it on, right? Because a lot of people can stay in the victim role and stay in the identified patient role and the sick role, because somewhere deep down that has worked for them, right? That has they know someone's going to show up. They know that,
Yeah.
they're going to
Well, and it goes back to your post, is the chaos of being the victim
yes.
is soothing to them, and
Yes.
some, which is
It's predictable, right? That's
yeah,
more than it is. It's not even that it's soothing, it's just predictable, right?
yeah,
And so that's one question I was going to ask you about this, like, when you came to this conclusion of like keeping my son busy all day, what emotion was I avoiding by, what I mean? That's the real question. What was I
yeah,
avoiding by keeping the schedule busy?
yeah.
Do you know?
Yeah, yeah. That is, I mean, that is a great question. Uh,
And you don't have to know the answer right now, but
yeah,
it's
no, well, I think it's interesting because my New Year's resolution, my word of the year is less.
mm,
And it's like, slow it down. Like, what is that? Wow.
yeah.
Yeah. Is
Yeah.
why the rat race? Where is
Mhm.
that rooted? Um, yeah, I'm gonna have to chew on that.
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
this is every single one of your episodes. I'm like, okay, it's like a research.
Oh my gosh. It's truly because I've had such amazing teachers in my own life, but
Yeah.
that's the journey I've been on myself is, we're taught, especially in recovery, it's like, you're selfish and self-centered. Get to the different perspective that's the healthy perspective that,
Mhm,
is and we just miss the emotional part, right? Where it's
mhm,
like, but I there's still an emotion there, whether it's right, wrong, makes sense or doesn't make sense. Emotions usually don't, right?
yeah,
They're there to protect us, to tell us something. And so when someone's afraid of making a decision, or when someone's afraid of the quiet, the peace, or
mhm,
when someone, there's an emotion they're trying to avoid feeling, right? And so it's
yeah,
like, if we can identify what that emotion is, lean into it, let it have a voice, give it some space, it actually goes away quicker. But when we're
yeah,
running and avoiding, it's just cycling and cycling and cycling and cycling. But we're all afraid that if I allow myself to have that emotion, it's going
yeah,
to take over and I'm never going to come back from it. You know?
yeah. Oh my gosh, I mean, I'm gonna sit with this
Yes.
and go, what is this, where is this rooted? And I typically, being a Virgo, I typically don't spend a lot of time uh, thinking about my emotions.
Mhm.
I go, okay, there was a flag, respond to it, take data on it, you know, you know, put it in the box that it belongs in, address it,
Yeah.
you know, um, but don't carry it in your backpack, which I'm
Mhm.
also carrying it in my backpack. But I, it's very managed,
Mm.
and so and I think it's important, because you're interviewing a lot of people younger than ourselves, is we didn't have social emotional learning. We didn't talk about emotions. I was raised by a drill sergeant in the Marine Corps during Vietnam.
Mm.
I was like, it was like, suck it up, buttercup,
Mm.
and now we have all these emotional filled, young people in our lives, and we're like, whoa, 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 whoa.
Yeah.
What the
You're
hell is
confronting my
happening?
internal condition. What is happening?
Yeah, whoa, whoa, whoa. Why are you talking about your feelings so damn much? Can you take a time out? Can we just rake the yard? Is that tied to an emotion? Okay.
It's
It's
so
mind
true.
blowing. It's mind blowing, and so it's just this different generational thing, and I can definitely feel that.
Mhm, yeah. It's very confronting, right? I remember because I was not always this way. In fact, my best friend, Jordan, was the first person I had experienced. We met early, like very early in recovery. And when I she would just drone on about her, like just go on about her, how she felt and what was coming up in her. And I just remember looking at her and being like, how does she do that? I don't understand. Like,
and I'm going, why? Why
yeah.
do you do
I'm like, how? You're like, why? And it's,
why?
and it, because I had my emotions locked tight,
Yeah.
like, Well, that's
Yeah.
so fascinating. Okay, so you had a drill sergeant. He was your father, right?
Yeah.
What was mom like?
The total opposite.
Uh-huh.
Chaos in a box. Yeah.
Mhm,
Yeah.
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 So there was no messaging that emotions were safe and okay to express,
Oh, hell no.
Yes,
No, 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 no.
yes.
You come in crying, they're like, go to your room. Yeah.
Mhm.
No.
Yeah. And it's
Uh,
like they have no clue what they're doing, but what that tells the kid is emotions are bad. They're not okay, you
yeah.
know? And
Yeah.
so we're all just kind of operating from this, passed on system, right?
Yeah. 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 All these trauma responses.
Yep.
And they're in your core and they're in your body.
Mhm.
And all of their trauma, their mother's trauma, their mother's trauma.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. And we're
Yeah,
navigating it. And I love that y'all's generation is making this huge step. But I have to say, I feel like this has been a work in progress. And as much as there's a disconnect, y'all are where y'all are because we did the work that we did. And
absolutely.
they did the work that they did, and they did the work that they did. And so yes, let's keep doing the work. And that's
Absolutely.
and celebrate instead of being mad at mom
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
grandma and everything is go, hey, they had their own journey
Mhm.
and they did the work so that I can do this work.
Yeah,
And and
exactly.
and the buck stops here. Let's fix it for the next generation. When
Yes.
somebody comes in and has an emotion in your house, then you'll be better equipped to handle it.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
You're welcome that we did all the work, and
Yes.
now y'all get to do better work. And
Yes.
it's mind blowing. And Jody and I have talked about it. Is that I'm on the journey, and I'm way behind you on the journey, and I'm 55.
Mm.
Okay. And
Mhm.
so to see that you're beyond me, you and Evelyn, you and DM, you and Jordan are way beyond us
Mm.
is so exciting.
Mm.
It's so exciting. And it's like, go, 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 go. I want y'all to
Mhm.
know that's how we're processing this. We're like, keep going.
Mm.
We're trying to get to the second mountain. Y'all are on the second mountain. Is there a third mountain? Let's go. Let's go. Let's go find it. It's so inspiring.
It is. It is. And I love that. Thank you for sharing that sentiment because I feel the same way about the younger generation. I
Yes.
specifically what started that line of thinking was there is nothing more impressive to me. I spoke at a meeting last Friday and there's nothing, it's a young people's meeting. There's nothing more impressive to me than a young person who got sober at 18 years old and has 10 years of sobriety. I mean, one of my best friends, her husband got sober at 19. He has more time than I have.
Yeah.
He got sober at 19 years old. And I'm just like, this is insane, but it's so inspiring,
Yeah.
And the truth is I wouldn't be where I am today had it not been for the stuff my mom kicked up in me to look at. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And same for her, right? Like it's not her fault. She's been an amazing catalyst for me to get to see things I wouldn't have otherwise.
Yeah.
You know?
And that is seeing the disdain in
Yeah.
her face and
Yes.
her sharing her emotions of the
Mhm.
circumstances catapulted you.
Yeah.
And I want to speak to this, and I think I can speak with anybody on the other side, that loves an addict or loves somebody that's mentally struggling in any way. When somebody is sober, you're a friggin' superhero.
Mm.
And I recognize that. I celebrate it.
Mm. Hmm. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Um, it's
I want people to hear that because I think, there's so much negativity assumed in the process. But
mm,
anybody that has lived with an addict or supported an addict, it's the hardest journey
mm,
you'll ever go through.
mhm.
Yeah.
Thank you, Shelly. Thank you so much. And I think that you have a beautiful perspective because of your son who's not an addict, but there's something that he can't control,
Yeah.
right? There is something about the way that he was wired that creates some challenge in his
Yeah.
life, right?
Yeah,
And
my son has autism,
Mhm.
and yeah, and so there's 2 different strands going in our house. We have someone struggling with mental health concerns, and then another child with autism, and so that is
Mhm.
a whole different journey. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, and it's, it's the same with addiction, right? I can't
mhm.
tell you how many, and even watching it. So here's the dichotomy is that when you're in it and you're so painfully aware that you don't want to be in this pattern, but there's something in you
Mhm.
that can't stop, right?
Uh-huh.
I can't tell
Yep.
you how many times I quit and I was like, I'm never doing this again. I'm never doing this again. If you hooked me up to a lie detector test, I would have passed, right? But then you see a loved one going through it, and
Mhm.
even though you have the knowledge, right? Even though you understand on a cellular level, it is still the most frustrating thing in the world to
Oh,
experience, you know?
yeah.
It's almost like people who are addicts or alcoholics have a harder time, like, with the compassion of another, right? When they're so close. Like, I remember with my dad, I was just like, I was pissed. I was like, "You're just get it together." You know?
Yeah.
Like, what the hell?
Well, I would assume that self-preservation, 'cause
Mhm.
it would be easy to jump back down the rabbit hole, but you
Mhm.
have to be like, "I can't add this to my plate."
Yeah.
And that there's nothing wrong with that. That
Mhm.
is not your responsibility.
It's part of the boundary, right? It's like, "I love
Yeah,
you and," right, that we were talking
and
about earlier, where
yeah,
I don't have to erase myself. I don't have to self-abandon. I don't have to
yeah,
do all of those things because you're in the situation you're in, right? And so
yeah.
what does love with limits look like, right? And it's just there's no cookie cutter answer, you
No,
know?
there's no cookie cutter. But I think self-preservation, we talk about it, self-care, unapologetic self-care.
Mhm.
That has to be a priority. It
Mhm.
has to be. And if everybody practiced unapologetic self-care,
Mhm. Yes,
where
yes,
would the world be? I mean,
yes.
I am, part of my unapologetic self-care is I'm gonna manage my mental health.
Mhm.
Part of it, is I'm going to not be an alcoholic. I'm going to get sober. If
Mhm.
everybody did their own work, where would the world be?
Right, right. I'm not going to answer the phone when I don't have the capacity. I'm not going to answer this text when I it's that journey has been huge for me because there's this underlying story that I've had where it's like if I don't have something to offer you, then I'm not worthy, right? Then I don't have significance or purpose. And so the journey I've been on this past year is I am worthy of being, breathing, sitting here, taking up
Yes,
space and breath. Like that makes me worthy. And that
you
was just
are
such a
worthy. Yeah.
a wild concept to me. And in fact, when somebody asked me that, what if I told you that you are just worthy being who you are? It was confronting internally. I was like,
Yeah.
I don't know. That doesn't feel safe, right? And so, yeah, this journey is just so what would you say? Let's get vulnerable
Ugh,
for a minute.
yeah.
Ugh,
Okay, more vulnerable? Okay, I'm
yes, let's get
in.
more vulnerable. what would you say your biggest insecurity is, or your biggest
Mm.
core wound?
Huh. Uh, I, gosh,
I have
Danielle,
a
I, I want to answer this authentically, so it's going to take me a moment, but um, go ahead. What were you going to say? It might help.
I have no, I have an inkling, at
Okay,
least for
go.
one of them for you,
Okay,
just
go.
based on what I know about you. But I think that there's probably something there with productivity and
Oh,
like exactly what I'm saying, right? If I'm not producing, if I'm not like doing something, then I am blank, right?
yeah, yeah.
Then who am I?
Yeah, no, I do feel like I need to be at service.
Mhm.
That's where this whole less concept is very important to me this year. I'm
Mm,
like not like I'm not answering phones until 9 a.m. I'm slowing everything down and trying to sit in peace
mm,
and take a moment for me. But I'm trying to figure out where that is rooted, and it's hard for me to find because those emotions, because I'm a Virgo raised by a drill sergeant Marine Corps. I mean, those are like buried in the backyard somewhere. I gotta go dig and find it. I gotta go
yes,
dig and find it. But
yes,
I will definitely get back to you on it.
yes, yes. Maybe when I launch my coaching business, you can be like a obviously I wouldn't charge you, but I would love, because that's part of my work is I love helping people get to their breakthroughs. Like
Yeah,
what's standing in the way? Like I find it fascinating when you can get to people's unlocks, you know?
yeah, yeah.
So maybe I can practice on you.
Oh yeah, I'm in. I'm in. And I definitely during EMDR, a lot of it came up,
Mhm,
and definitely, um, I really am very protective of my peace, and
mm,
I really, something that disturbs my peace really pisses me off.
mhm,
When others can't manage their life
mm,
and you know, it falls in my path, it really sets me off. But
mhm.
why am I such a control freak?
Well, you learn that somehow keeps you safe,
Yeah,
right?
it
Staying
it
busy doing,
yeah,
like producing somehow gave you a sense of safety in your home,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Just like
That is that's
God.
I mean, a calendar, Danielle, managing a calendar, knowing where all the pieces are, where they need to go is so powerful to me. Um, and definitely has been pointed out by
Yes.
friends and loved ones, and I'm really trying to step away from it and let it go and let
Mm,
everybody be on their own journey um and acknowledge that and support it. And
mm,
so
yes.
yeah, yeah.
Do you know what your rising sign is by chance?
Cancer.
Oh, okay. And your
Uh,
moon?
I don't know that.
You don't know?
Yeah,
Interesting. Yeah, it's
yeah,
interesting that your sun sign is Virgo, but then your Cancer is, I mean, your moon or rising is Cancer, because that's how people experience you, is actually like very deeply emotional and sensitive and nurturing and all of these things, right? And it's like this, it's those two signs kind of come up against each other where it's like go go
yeah.
go, and the Cancer's like slow down, be nurturing, be sensitive, you know? Creates some confusion.
No, I'll send you the paperwork. Have you spoken with Danielle Knapp?
Yes, I have. We've had some exchanges. We're working on solidifying a date, but I sent her my podcast and she was like, "Oh my gosh, even going through the titles, I was like, this is so aligned."
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%,
Yes.
100%.
Yes.
She's so impressive. Her episode dropped last week.
Oh,
So,
amazing. I
yeah.
need to listen to it.
Yeah.
Yes, I'll do that today.
So good. Yeah, she's the one that she was like, "And you have cancer." Cancer is your sign. And I was like, "Oh, okay." And I haven't dug into it yet.
Yes, so fun.
Yeah.
So let's switch gears a little bit. I would love to hear, because I don't know really
Yeah.
kind of what set you on the path of creating your podcast and then your network, and yeah, tell us about that.
Well, I mean, it totally is lines up. I wanted to control Jody's calendar. um, Jody is my sister and my best friend, and she retired from teaching after 30 years. And we have been talking about podcasting for like 5 years. And so I had bought all the gear and everything like 3 years ago, and in true Pisces, fawning Pisces, she donated it all to Goodwill.
Oh my God.
And so with her retirement, I just booked record ATX, and I was like, "Hey, I have something for your calendar. We're going in studio. Here we go. Let's go." And it started, and we just fell in love with it, and it's been so much fun. In the process, I found out that adding other shows wasn't any more expensive.
Mhm.
We can have as many shows as we want, and it was like, and my heart always wants to help people get their voice out
Mhm.
and share their stories. I mean, that's why it's adjacent. It's like it's not about Jody and I, it's about sharing a local artist, sharing a local restaurant, sharing these amazing people that we encounter, and sharing people's authentic stories. And so, people have like, "Well, I want to start a podcast." We were like, "Well, we know how to do it. It's not hard. Let us help you."
Mhm.
And so we
Mhm.
started Shody Media, and that Shelly and Jody combined Shody.
Mhm.
And so it really was about controlling Jody's
So good.
and full Virgo attack mode. And Jody to this day pretends that I don't know how the calendar works. I can't figure it out.
That is so good.
It's so
I
good.
I am obsessed with I have the moment I met y'all, I was like, I am obsessed with this duo. Like, you guys are so hilarious. Your love for each other is so obvious,
Yeah,
and oh, it's just so beautiful how different but similar you guys are.
so different.
It's like the dream, right? I remember being a kid and I was an only child and just
Uh,
really wanting to have a sister, that I
yeah.
could escape the world with, or like, whatever. So I love this duo, and I genuinely felt immediate like love, support, and
Mhm.
just, people that believed in me through y'all. Um,
Yeah.
and so that is definitely what you did for me.
Well, we are so grateful to have you on our team, and we want you to achieve all your goals. And you guys, please lean in, share Court of Connection, but also, support financially. You can send money through PayPal and support Court of Connection directly. I'm sure you take Venmo, Danielle, if somebody wants to send you a Venmo. But you're up for public speaking and coaching and such, and you know th- this isn't this isn't a huge money maker at this point on any of the shows, but you know, we do have an Amazon storefront, and you know, some of Danielle's favorite things are on there. Buy them through, use the storefront every time you go shopping, and Danielle gets a little bit of that. And so it's, you know, it all helps out. And so, and she does have some sponsors. You do have some sponsors through code ADX that you have access to. One of them being um, Cozy Earth, and your listeners get 41% off. You know, by putting Court of Connection in there. So, you know, support the podcast, support it, and keep this going, because it is so helpful in serving so many people. It's so important. It really is, Danielle. Don't keep doing the good work. We are blown away by you, and I can't wait for y'all to discover the third mountain. And if y'all don't know what the third mountain is, go read David Brooks' Second Mountain.
I love it. I still need to listen to that.
It's so good. It's so good. But you're already on top of it. So yeah.
Well, thank you so much thank you for promoting me.
Yeah. No, it's hard. It's hard to promote when you have all this talent. So that's really what we're really good at promoting people.
Yeah, you are.
That's what we really want to do. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel inspired by you guys in that regard too. Is I'm just really looking forward to this next chapter of really getting to like take my whole life beyond, like stretch myself beyond my edges again. You know, it's like, okay, because you know, starting your own business and taking that kind of risk is, you're gonna have to promote yourself. You're gonna have to lean into that, like, period. So this work this last year has really prepared me for that moment. But well, I'd love to hear kind of what is bringing you joy in your life currently. What's lighting you up? What's exciting you?
Yeah. Well, as a Virgo, it's a new year. I love a new year. To me, it is always a clean slate, and, you know, a realignment, if you will, like getting back to basics. I always do huggy season. Do you know huggy season?
No.
It is the Danish lifestyle that during the winter is like you hibernate and you just slow down and relax and engage in that. And so, yeah, that's where my focus is right now. I love it. What about you?
What's bringing me joy? I mean, really just like going deeper within myself, making these decisions that I never in a million years thought I could do. Walking through fear after fear after fear, confronting these things inside of myself. Like, that feels so exciting because it's becoming this woman that I did not think that I was ever capable of being. Having these, like I mentioned, the guy that I'm dating now, the level of vulnerability and honesty that I have been able to move through in this dynamic, which is in large part him creating safety, right? But I'm also willing to say the things, do the things, expose myself, and on a level I've never experienced. So just like experiences like that, where I just keep blowing my own fucking mind. I'm like, damn, there she goes again. You know, there she goes again. I'm so proud of her. So that's what's bringing me joy. Yeah,
I love it. And we talk about this offline, but who would you love to interview in 2026?
Oh my gosh. So it's funny. I had a prompt question the other day. Someone asked me, you know, if all, you know, barriers were out of the way, who would you want on your podcast? So I am definitely one day going to have Oprah. I'm going to have Joe Hudson. He's a big emotions guy, like The Art of Accomplishment is his podcast. Obviously, Jay Shetty. I'd love to have gosh, there's so many going through my mind.
Yeah.
Marianne Williamson. I mean, like those, they're all people that are going to be on the podcast. 1,000%.
1,000%. I love it.
1,000%. Yeah. So, what about you?
Well, I would love to have Adam Sandler on my
Oh,
podcast.
yes.
He's on my laminated list, so I just would like I would like to have him in studio just to laugh. Just to laugh.
So
Our biggest thing is really like all the people that we've had on our podcast, like when they achieve their goals, it brings us so much joy. Danielle is like, oh yeah, keep doing this, keep doing this. It's just sharing these beautiful stories and watching people on their journey is like such a gift.
I so hear you. I so understand that.
Yeah.
Well, why don't you tell everybody how we can find you, how we can find Shody Media, how we can find Adjacent.
Yeah. We have a website called shodymedia.com, and on there you can find Court of Connection and all our other shows, including Adjacent, and you can actually link directly to the shows. And so that's a great resource, shodymedia.com. Adjacent, if you want to be on an episode of Adjacent, please reach out. We're down for it. We can do it virtually. We can do it in studio. And I know Danielle feels the same way. If you want to be on Court of Connection, reach out to her. She's down for it. And we are out in the wild. We are out in the wild. Yeah, we want to see you guys. We want to do face to face. We want to be in connection. We want to be in community with you guys. And we're on the social media. Our big go-to spot is Adjacent Connectors on Facebook because we're old and I can't figure out Instagram. And but on Adjacent Connectors, that is where we drop all of the information of everything we're doing around town and stuff like that. We love Austin. And we love sharing all this good stuff with people and having real talks with real people and giving them a space to share their goodness and their good work and their volunteering and their art and all of this beautiful, beautiful world, everything going on. We love it so much. Yeah. And you can text me. I don't care. Call me.
She's not corresponding until after 9 a.m. though, so don't.
That's right. That's right.
Well, you are an incredible human being. I am just so honored to be connected with you and at this capacity. And I really look forward to the year of the fire horse and seeing what happens for both of us, for all of us,
Yeah, agreed. And I just want to applaud you. Your episodes, I mean, constantly. I listen to y'all's episodes because I help with production, and then I feel like I know them. I feel like me and DM should go have coffee and have a conversation because I'm kind of blown away by him and his art. And I mean, Evelyn, we've already had her on our podcast. We're in love with them, and just keep sharing these beautiful people. I mean, these stories are incredible.
Oh my gosh, I know it. They really are. And DM would love to have coffee with you. He's actually starting. He'd love to be on your podcast. He's starting a business too. So really cool. But I'm just wow, what a life we get to live. I'm so honored. And
we're so lucky. Oh, this beautiful life. I'm so grateful.
It is. Thank you so much, Shelly. I am just so grateful for you.
Bright, beautiful light.
That's right. All right, everyone. Until next time.